Batrider was only picked 3 times out of 88 games in ESL Kuala Lumpur and currently has a 53% win rate as a support on Pro Tracker. However, Ari from OG is winning every single game as a Batrider support. In 7.35, Batrider's flame break is improved as well as Firefly's cooldown is reduced. Let's see how Ari plays Batrider to have a 100% win rate. Starting with his early item build, Ari always has the same item build in every game, which is a set of tango, 3 branches, magic stick, blood grenade, and a sentry, except he replaces stick with circulate when the enemy lane is passive and does not have any spellcaster. Batrider benefits a lot from circulate as the hero itself is universal. These starting items help Batrider in the laning phase because they provide stats, and universal heroes benefit a lot from stat items. That is because every point of strength, agility, or intelligence attribute increases the damage by 0.7, and Ironwood branch provides plus 1 all attributes, which increases the damage by 2.1. He usually calls for another set of tango and more sentries after the bounty runes. Batrider has a strong laning stage with improved flame break. The cooldown on Firefly is way too little now, which allows Bat to farm jungle and lanes actively. Firefly's damage allows Bat to farm the camps without the need of napalm, which helps him to farm 2 to 3 neutral camps at once with a single Firefly. Bat can clear out the waves in mid to late game easily with Firefly and doesn't have to show himself in the lane for a long time, which helps in lane being pushed towards the enemy side, which is a very important move and is often overlooked. In the late game, the amount of slow Batrider does is very strong, and he can be converted into core from support role with items like Shiva's Guard, BKB, Octarine Core. He always contests the bounty rune with Flame Break on level 1, as it helps in getting the enemy heroes out of position, and a chance of converting that into First Blood because Flame Break now slows enemy by 15% on level 1 for 5 seconds. After securing the bounty rune, he calls for more healing and sentry to contest the neutral camps, and he doesn't stop there. He keeps calling for sentry to keep the small camp blocked and big camp unblocked even after 3 or 4 minutes, which helps in playing the lane freely. With small camp always blocked, he can keep the lane close to his tower, which is going to deny any kind of pressure from the enemy since they can always run into tower for safety when the enemy tries to commit. This also enables him to stack the ancient and big camp because the lane is close to tower. He usually starts stacking ancients after 3 minutes when the lane is stable and close to the tower. This way, it is nearly impossible for the enemy to kill the offlaner while he is stacking. Bat's skill build is pretty straightforward. In the laning phase, he goes for Flame Break at level 1, which helps him in fighting at Bounty Rune and getting enemies out of position in lane to trade attacks with them. After that, he goes on to Max Firefly, which reduces the cooldown and increases the damage of the spell, followed by Napalm, which slows and amplifies the damage of Bat onto the heroes hit by Napalm. In the laning stage, he plays around his Flame Break and neutral camps. Whenever Flame Break is available and the enemy comes to attack, he uses Flame Break to get them out of position and zone them out. Other than that, he is always trying to block the small camp and keep the big camp unblocked. If he wants to get aggressive in lane, he pulls the big camp, and if enemy comes to contest it, he uses Flame Break to throw them in and with the Firefly does a lot of damage. Ari's early game item build varies from game to game. He buys brown boots and doesn't upgrade them if his team doesn't have mana issues. But if he's playing with heroes like Mars and Timbersaw that have mana issues, then he goes on to buying Arcane boots first. After that, the most common items that he makes are Blink, Force Staff, and Glimmer Cape. Pat does a lot of magic damage with Firefly and Napalm. All he needs is mobility items to survive the team fight and maintain his positioning. Against heroes like Leshrac and Zeus, which does a lot of magic damage, he rushes Mage Slayer and gets on top of them in team fights and nullifies all their damage. After the laning stage, Ari farms in an area where he can easily connect to his team from, and stacks the jungle as much as possible. He doesn't prioritize farming over fighting. If his team is looking to fight, he joins them and takes the fight. But if there isn't anything happening on the map, all he does is stack neutrals and take the hard area to farm. By hard area, I mean the farm which his course cannot take because the chances of getting ganked are higher in this area. Around 1330, he always tries to sneak and steal enemies' wisdom rune, which heavily impacts the game of enemy support players in the game, and then continues the same thing for the rest of the game. Plays around his team and farms the hard area of the map, which helps him scale really well into the late game. Bat can farm easily with Firefly and Getaway. His most common farming camps are these around the Watchers because these camps are very close to the lanes, and you can connect to your team whenever required. Also, farming this big and medium camp gives a lot of gold and EXP. In terms of his talents, he skips the talent on level 10 and takes the sticky in a palm radius at level 16 after getting points in all skills because the talents are not as good as the spells. Sticky in a palm radius helps with connecting the spell easier, whereas Flame Break knockback distance isn't as useful in comparison. At level 15, he takes minus 10 Flaming Lasso cooldown because it allows him to catch heroes faster and as a result, he can play more actively on the map. At level 20, he takes 2 Flame Break charges because Flame Break has 30% movement speed slow for 5 seconds and the cooldown is only 13 seconds. This also helps Bat in solo killing the enemy supports or maybe cores in some cases. Whereas the addition Firefly duration isn't as good as Flame Break charges because 15-second duration for Firefly is enough for Batrider to do his job. For the last talent, you can just go for the Flame Break talent. In terms of firing, Ari tends to join almost every fight as long as he has mana to work with. Bat is a hero that requires good positioning in teamfight, and with the amount of slow with Flamebreak and Napalm and damage from Firefly, Bat can give an insane amount of impact in the fights. He doesn't stand AFK and auto attack the enemy heroes, rather, he keeps running around in fight and gives his impact by spamming his spells and keeping the enemy heroes slow and kiting them to make the fight easier for his team. If you walk into a fight as a support, you are most likely to be killed in a second or two. Therefore, it is important for supports to keep their position and try to survive the fight for as long as possible. Batrider has a wide range of item pool. Depending on the game, you can start with the Glimmer Cape and go on to buying Blink or Force Staff, or you can start with the Solar Crest as it is the most broken support item right now and then get a Blink. If the enemy has a lot of magic damage, I would prefer starting with a Glimmer Cape and then getting a Blink. Otherwise, I will go with Solar Crest and then Blink Dagger. After that, you can get a Force Staff if you or your team needs it. Get an Aether Lens and convert it into Ethereal Blade, or get a Veil of Discord and convert it into Shiva's Guard, depending upon the situation of the game. Later on in the game, Octarine, Axe, BKB are viable options for Bat Rider to become a core. I have played the hero myself and found it really strong as it can clear waves, farm enemies jungle, stack camps for teammates, get items faster than the enemy supports, and the amount of damage Bat does with Firefly and Napalm is insane. You can either solo kill the support in fights, or if there is any core with low health pool, you can kill him as well. Do let me know if you have any feedback, otherwise, good luck with your games and have a nice day.